Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, people on YouTube, and welcome back to William in Japan. Today you join me on my Street 765, the Moto 2 edition. I have done, as in the title, 4,000 kilometers in the past 3 weeks. The first 1,000 was done in a week to get my first maintenance done for my Hokkaido tour, which I did another 2,400 kilometers on the second week. And on the third week, I forgot I planned a trip with my buddies around Kanto area, did another 600. So now we're at the 4,000 mark. So we surely cram a lot of mileage in a short time frame. What have I found out? What I liked? What I didn't? Stay tuned to find out. See you in a bit. Alright, welcome back, folks. First of all, a bit of background information for those new to the channel, which I believe will be most of you. I used to ride a Ducati Supersport 950S and a Honda CB250R, a domestic version of the CB300R Neo Cafe naked bike, which are available mostly in different regions. So, a weekend blaster and a commuter, basically. Circumstances has changed. Last year I moved, sold the CB250R, and started commuting on my Supersport, which wasn't a pleasant experience. So I started bike hunting, tried out the 2019 version of this bike. I'll stick it up on the right top corner, and fell in love with this engine. It is smooth, it pulls in any rev range, and the bike is just so nimble. However, I did not like the looks. I also mentioned that in my last video. I'm definitely not a fan of how the front light is protruding out from the frame. The 2020 version kind of solved that. Did get better. And the Moto 2 also did a great job to further improve on the looks. However, I'm still on the fence of how I stand on the appearance part. It's definitely not as beautiful as my Supersport, very obviously. But yeah, I think I can manage. It will grow on me, I think. Well, it's definitely better than in 2019. And so, the biggest reason I sold the Supersport, as I mentioned, is for commuting. And how does this bike perform in that role? Frankly speaking, perfect. Yes, it has clip-ons. My excuses. Alright, it has clip-on. It's definitely lower than my Supersport, but thanks to it being shorter in the fuel tank, I definitely feel more comfortable riding it in and out of traffic. Yes, the bar and mirrors are sometimes a bit in the way, but when I had the CB250R, I did put on bar and mirrors as well, so I am pretty familiar with working around them. So that solves the commuting part. What about the fun part, you may ask? Well, hopefully it's already very, very obvious. As I mentioned, I fell in love with the engine when I rode the 2019 bike. And now, on the 2023 Moto 2, it is even a step up. First of all, I must mention the upgrades it has over the normal RS version. It has the same STX40 rear shock from Öhlins, but it replaced the Showa big piston forks up front with the Öhlins and IX30. It still has the same Stylema calipers, the same MCS Brembo master cylinder 19 to 21, I believe, which as a package, God, it rides so well. For those who had been following my Hokkaido tour videos will know, as I mentioned, this bike gives me the most confidence I ever had on any bike, especially in the corners. The Öhlins suspension soaks up all the bad throttle input I just do to it. Usually very little though, but if it happens, it happens. It soaks it up. It also soaks up manhole covers like that, unsmooth pavement, potholes, cracks, tar snakes. Well, tar snake not so much, but you get what I mean. The suspension is so supple, it does not upset the bike when I'm going over bumps, and just feels so planted. And in combination with the Diavolo Rosso Corsa, Super Corsa tires that it comes with, God, this bike as a package feels so good in the corners. Choose a line, throw it in, and she stays there. And the Super Corsas are so sticky, you feel like a Superman going through corners. And thanks to that, I thought the Super Sport was already one of the best handling bikes I will ever ride. Well, hell no. The Daytona frame on this, the Super Corsa tires, and the Öhlins suspension really brings this bike to a whole new field. And it just feels so natural. So natural. The quick shifter definitely is pretty nice. But here comes one of my first nitpicks. Again, it is compared with my Super Sport. Definitely very different bikes, but that was the last bike I rode, so most of my feelings will be compared to that. So I digress. Back to the quick shifter. I'm going to have a green light. Let's show it off a bit. Come on. Just like that. It is very smooth when the engine is under acceleration. And frankly speaking, there's no nitpick in that. But when I am commuting, let's say we're doing, nobody behind us, so we're doing 40. And I usually short shift a lot when I'm going through traffic. Right now, it is not acting up. But sometimes when you're between 4,000 and 5,000 RPM, oh, right there. There you go. Especially in the 5th gear and 6th gear, the quick shifter starts to lag. Again, it's a nitpick. It's no big deal. It's never designed to be used in those situations, maybe. However, Ducati has that solved. Every single gear shift is very tactile and quick on the Ducati, but not so much on this Triumph. It did improve from the last version of this bike, but still there is some software amends that can be done, and hopefully that will come in the future. There's also one thing that I can't show you on the fly about the quick shifter. It's when you're going down the gearbox. I did a few just in the past 2 minutes. Definitely nothing wrong. But sometimes, really sometimes, the gearbox kind of just gets lost. You press on the foot pedal, nothing happens. You do feel the rod moving, but it does not shift, nor does it apply any acceleration, auto blipping on the engine. I do not know why is that. It especially happens on third gear to second gear and second gear to first gear. So you have to let go of the re-step on the foot pedal, jam it a few times, and suddenly it will start working again. I heard a gear shift assist plate will help, which you can attach an aftermarket part on the shifting rod, but still, a machine like this shouldn't have that problem. Nevertheless, again, they are nitpicks. This engine is so much fun. Right, let's go to nitpick number 2. It is with the vibration. Well, unfortunately, I'm not sure what happened to Triumph. They did switch out a lot of the components from the engine in this model, the 2023 model. But it definitely caused more vibration than I remember when I wrote the 2019 version. Maybe it's because of the clip-ons, but I had been surfing around online, seeing other reviews by owners. People had been mentioning on the Normals RS version as well of vibration in the bars. We are now around 6,000 RPM and it is already showing. I can feel them in the clip-ons. So unfortunately, I don't think there is a good solution to this. I had heard some people say EvoTech bar and weights will help, but I don't think changing bar ends will solve the problem completely. It'll definitely help, of course, but the vibration is coming from the engine. So even after the break-in period, even after 2 oil change, the first maintenance, it has gone better, but it's still there. Okay, that was nitpick number 2. Nitpick number 3. And I bet a lot of people has already mentioned this, and this has been a continuing problem with the Triumph TFT. Is the rev counter. I'm riding right now. When I glance down, I can barely see the numbers on how much RPM I am on. Of course, because of the vibration and the engine sound, I kind of can guess where and when I should shift. But when I was in the braking period and I really need to stick to some certain RPMs designated by the owner's manual, it was kind of a hard job. It was not easy. Now, not so much. I can definitely live with this TFT screen, but as I mentioned, it is far from perfect. Why can't we just have a normal rev counter? Let's go over the top or go over the side like normal bikes do. It's way easier to understand, way easier to read. But no, Triumph have been sticking to this somewhat butterfly-like layout since their first TFTs. And again, I am not a fan. So, that was nitpick number 3. Nitpick number 4. It's kind of like sounding very, very, it sounds like I really don't like this bike, but bear with me. I do love this bike. That's why I bought it. But there are always nitpicks, right? And I just want to honestly tell you guys, that who are considering the 2023 RS version, or actually even trying to buy a Moto 2 still. Most of them are sold out, as I heard, but maybe there are still one or two left in the field. Okay, nitpick number 3 is actually the steering lock, to be precise. Can really perform a really tight U-turn right now, but when I am chucking around the parking lot, or actually just moving the bike around the garage, the steering lock stops pretty early, and it really hampers this bike's U-turn ability. It feels quite wide, and you have to like do 3-point turns multiple times in order to just get it to the place you want. Yeah, it is a small nitpick, but as a naked bike, as a bike that I thought I can live with fairly easily, it really is an oversight in my opinion. But again, nitpick is a nitpick. I can definitely live with it. So that basically concludes every nitpick I can show you right now on the bike when I'm riding. There's just one left that I'll have to show you when I walk around the bike. So see you in a bit. Alright, welcome back folks. We're at the Wakasu Park again. Let's do a quick walk around of the street triple, where we always do it. First of all, let me show you how bad the U-turn is. This is at max angle, guys. That's it. That really isn't great for a naked bike. Okay, nitpicks that I want to show you when I'm off the bike. But again, let's show you the good parts first. That Öhlins and that Stylema caliper and this Super Corsa tire is, I'm sorry for repeating myself, but really incredible. They are so nice. Alright, that's the STX shock. Oh, forgot one nitpick I need to mention to you guys. This rear hugger has no function. Again, for those who has already watched my Hokkaido tour videos will know, when it rains, we're going a bit more dirty road surfaces, this entire region will be covered. So yeah, it'll definitely needs to extend maybe up to here, about halfway through. It'll help a lot. And the last nitpick, guys, I bet this is from the Daytona. Since it is a race bike, function always come before maintenance, I guess. But when you're doing a proper chain clean, you always want to open that front sprocket cover. Well guys, in order to open that, let me show you how much I have to go through. You see that bolt over there? I'm not sure if it's showing on the GoPro. Anyways, there's a bolt behind that. There's a bolt down here. 2 bolts to remove. But the shift rod is right in front of it. So I have to remove the shift rod. Okay, how do you remove the shift rod? You have to remove the heel guard. So this comes off, rod comes off, and finally the cover comes off. Just to do a freaking chain clean, guys. That is so annoying. Again, this is a nitpick. It's definitely not a deal breaker. But for myself, I am definitely changing that out. And I need to find a quick release one, if there are any, in the aftermarket. Okay, that was the Street Triple Moto 2. Again, 4,000 kilometers only. I still need to learn a lot more on this bike. These are just the little things I have found out in the first 3 weeks. Hopefully, we'll give you guys a proper review when I have a proper 12 months on the saddle. This has been William. Thanks for joining me, and see you next time. Bye bye.